Just 1 week out from the big Pegasus Cup day at Gulfstream Park. Let's dive into Saturday, January the 18th. I'm Gino Bucola. I'm going to take a look at some of the races for Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Remember, every time you're looking at the races at Gulfstream Park, before you get all into your deep dive, head to DRF.com. You have past performances, DRF picks, Clocker reports, everything you need for the handicapping help. I'll get into the DRF formulator past performances in just a moment. So remember, next week is the big Pegasus Cup day. Those races are going to be drawn on Sunday. So we'll have plenty of time to look at the big races. I'm actually going to be heading out to Florida, heading out to Gulfstream Park for the first time for the big day. Let's see if we can pad the bankroll as we make some money this weekend. Hey, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. We're going to look at race number 6, which is the Sunshine Turf. It's a mile and a 16th on the turf course here. I thought this was a really, really challenging race from a gambling standpoint. Let's talk about some of the major players in here and who are horses I would want to use in any type of exotics that you might be playing. That does kick off the Rainbow Pick 6, race number 6. So the 3, Lord Eddard Stark, actually won the Jerkins going 2 miles last time out. Now cuts back from that. The 5 is the real wild card, Victory Achieved, who's been so impressive on the synthetic last time out. I just don't I like him as a horse. I just don't know if he's going to be playable at a playable price. You look towards the outside, Boppy O, obvious contender, but not a horse that is a win machine in here. The 8 is one I think that fits kind of well. It's pretty interesting to me. The 2 was one that I might start warming up to a little bit more based on price. Because I think Adios Cole was DQ'd, deserved to be DQ'd in that last race, but he was the best horse in there. He did impact the other runner. So it was a tough one, but he's lightly raced. He has a little bit of upside. Not the easiest race in the world. A lot of different variables. The 5, I think, is the horse to beat. Just don't want to take too short of a price on Victory Achieved. Like if he is 5-2 or less, that's just too short to want to take on the win end in here. So maybe a horse like the 2 could offer you some value. Adios Cole. Maybe a horse like the outside, towards the outside, the 8, Animestic. Those would be some of the horses on my radar in the Sunshine Turf race 6, Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Moving to race number 7. This one kicks off your late pick 5. Wistucky is going to be a pretty heavy favorite, I'd imagine, the number 1. But the outside runner is going to take some money as well. Sneak Preview, who's a first-time gelding and was heavily bet last time out, came out of a really live debut race, showed a little bit of positional speed, had some trouble on November the 17th. So those are the 2 that are going to be well shorter than everybody else in this field. Inside, outside. Those are the top 2 betting choices. Yeah, I was trying to find another horse in here because if you could get some value, you could really spice up the pick 5s if you could get around these 2. And I was having a tough time. It would probably be Escondido just because he's faced some really tough horses. You look at that September 1st race at Saratoga. So he lost to a horse named Montalcino, who came out of that race to win his next start, earned a 97 buyer, then was second in the Thanksgiving Classic with a 103 buyer speed figure. The runner-up that day came back to win their next start with an 86 buyer, then won a first-level allowance with a 90 buyer, came back and finished second again with a 90 buyer speed figure. That's a really sharp horse. Third place finisher, Hurricane Nelson, came out of this race to win their next start and then finished second against winners. So that was a really, really tough group that he faced. And that was the last time he was on the dirt. Since then, he tried the turf. But look at his overall form. He's raced 5 times, and in 4 of the races, he's lost to horses who have won their next out start. Scarlet Poppy, we just saw, came back to win their next start. So 1 and 7 are going to take all the money. The 5 for me would be the interesting horse if you're trying to find a little bit of value. Even in that career debut, when finishing 4th, look at the horses in this race. Illuminaire, who's a nice runner who came back and has earned a 98 Beyer speed figure, who was the next out winner. Second place finisher came back to win their next start with a 99 Beyer speed figure. We saw Rolling Along in that race, came back to win their next start with an 88 Beyer speed figure. Look at how strong this group was. You had Mr. Papa Giorgio, Nick Papa Giorgio, who came back to win their next start, a maiden claiming 50 race with the 70 Beyer speed figure. Clever Mischief, who was last in the field, came back to win their next start with an 81 Beyer speed figure. This was a good group too. Source has faced some very nice runners throughout his career, Escondido. So 5 is the value play for me. 1 and 7, hands down, the 2 horses to beat. And those are the ones that everyone's going to kind of key in pick 5s. Race number 8. The one Life's an Audible, second start back off the bench. Could take a step forward, but disappointing to see that lackluster of an effort. That was like the worst race she'd ever run. You just would like to see a little bit more from her in that effort on December the 14th. The 5 Windy Walk is a major player. This horse has won 4 in a row. It's really sharp filly right now, but she steps up a little bit here and faces tougher. You've got the 8 Happy Together. Imagine me and you. I do. I think about you day and night. Hasn't raced since March, but lightly raced. Obvious upside there for Happy Together. The 9 Hello Hollywood, also going to be in the mix for me. Hello Hollywood hasn't raced since July, but now comes into the Clement barn, and we see a really nice body of work. But I actually think the 11 Viva Vuv, you can eliminate that last race for a horse who just never had a shot that day. The form prior to the December 14th race was really, really good. And if you look at the way the race shaped up, so Viva Vuv is a deep closer. In the most recent race, See You Around won and was second throughout. In Our Time finished second in that race and was on the lead. And the third place finisher, Di Regresso, was third all the way around. This was an absolute merry-go-round race. The top 3 finishers finished 1, 2, 3, early and late. There was no passing in this race whatsoever. And that's not the type of race that sets up for a horse like Viva Vuv, who wants to come from way, way out of it. You will have, drum roll to the outside, who has to show early speed from there. You have She Prospers, who should be forwardly placed in here. You have Happy Together, who should be forwardly placed in this race. You have Zizissit, who should be forwardly placed in here. So look at how much more speed there could be in this race. The 5 Windy Walk, wouldn't be shocked to see that one showing some positional speed. Stern Chaser wants to show a little bit of speed. So I think this race could set up a lot better for the number 11, Viva Vuv, who's going to drop back, make one late run from a class standpoint, fits pretty well in here. Doesn't have to deal with In Our Time, who has been behind in the last 2 races and should get some more pace to run at in here. Viva Vuv, the number 11. That's going to be my top selection in there. I went 11 over 8 over 1 Life's an Audible with the 5 and the 9. 11, top selection. If we can get anything over 5 to 1, I'll make a win wager on Viva Vuv. Moving to race number 9 on the 11 race card. This one's the Sunshine Sprint. 6 furlongs on the dirt. I thought there were 3 or 4 really sharp horses that could win this race. Classifies in great form. Comes off a win against First Level Allowance Company. Earned a 97 Beyer speed figure. You've got Comedy Town. Was claimed by Safety Joseph Jr. last year in 2024. And won 3 of 5 races since being claimed. 2 of them were stakes races. And was second in the grade 3, or was third in the grade 2 Phoenix. Grade 2 placed. Comedy Town, I think, is the horse to beat. You have Mish. I like Mish a little bit. I think because he's drawn towards the outside of the speed runners in here, he could sit a really nice trip just off the pace a little bit. 8-time winner at Gulfstream Park, 10-time winner overall. And if you look at his pattern, he was off from May to September, showed back up in September, ran like he needed the race a little bit, then came back on November 22nd, just put a line right through that race. He was fractious in the gate. He just did not seem comfortable, and he got crushed by White Barrio. He was basically eased. But following that, December 15th, he wins in his third start of the form cycle. So if he can reproduce that effort or maybe take a little step forward, drawn well to the outside, sits close, I like Mish. I put the 6 horse on top. The 7 David's Mound is a multiple graded stakes winner. So he's the class of the field. He'll come into the Bill Mott barn for the first time. He hasn't raced since December of 2023. So we're talking about over a year layoff now. I went 6 Mish on top of the 3 Comedy Town, then the 7 David's Mound, then the 1. 6, 3, 7, 1 for me with Mish, the value play in race number 9. Moving to the 10th race on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. First level allowance, 6 furlongs the distance. I thought this was a really tricky race. Towards the outside, Wailua, I will use because she can sit and pass horses late. I feel like there's a decent amount of speed in this race. Start from the inside and look at all of the horses who are fast. The 1 Reliable Lady has the inside draw. We'll probably try to hold that position. You've got the 3 Julie's Legacy, pretty quick. You've got the 4 Done Enough, very quick. You've got the 5 Personal Choice, very quick. The 6 Cruise to Catalina wants to sit right off the lead. So we have a lot of speed horses down to the inside. Our Disaster, very, very quick. I think it should set up nicely for the 10. And I'm looking for some of these horses that can sit. The 4 is interesting to me at a big price. I know that last race doesn't look very good based on speed figures, but was the first start since January. So 11 months off. This horse probably needed the race and got a little bit tired late. Second start back now. Look at the ceiling for this one. We've seen a high ceiling of an 83 buyer on a sloppy track. We've seen, the cash run finishing third behind Power Squeeze. That's not a bad effort there. I could see Done Enough sitting off the pace in here and having some finish at 6 furlongs. The 6, Cruise to Catalina, and the 5, Personal Choice. Probably of the speed horses, the ones I like the most. So I'll include the 6 and the 5 in a lot of multis. The 9, Our Disaster, another really quick horse who just lost to a horse named Nick Style. And look at how good Nick Style is. Nick Style is 5 for 6, only has 1 loss in the Grade 2 Gallant Bloom, is a multiple stakes winner, and is a good horse for Bill Mott. So 10, I put on top just because of all the possible speed in this race. 10, 4, 6, 5, 9, some of the horses who I'm looking to use. I will not always use all 5 of those horses in pick 4s or pick 5s. Sometimes I'll play tries or exactas or supers. I just will put the horses in order based on some of you listening. Maybe you want to use an extra horse. Maybe you're looking for another one. I'll always try to kind of stack them up for you, how I saw the race unfolding and who I have on top. Closing out the Saturday Gulfstream Park card, race number 11, a mile and a 16th on the turf course. Towards the outside, the 11 King of Ashes, the 12 Constitution Road, they're both going to take a lot of money. They're both super logical. They were runner-ups in their last effort. I actually like the 6 best, War and Majesty. This is a horse who debuted on the dirt, then moved to the turf, and on September 7th at Kentucky Downs was really good. Was 6th, was only beaten a couple lengths that day. It was a sneaky good effort. The race that was the big improvement, though, was on October the 4th at Keeneland, field of 12, going a mile on the turf course. This horse, the number 6 War and Majesty, got bumped around at the start, was in traffic right away, checked going into the first turn, and just got buried down on the inside. This horse was 7th, about 5 lengths off, and was in the 4th flight. So there are 3 different rows of horses in front of him, and he's just waiting and looking for room. Was really unlucky. He finally was able to find a seam. He splits horses, and he tried to hit a hole, but he couldn't get there quick enough. He still ends up finishing a really nice third. War and Majesty then went to the dirt, didn't fire, now gets back to the turf and gets Lasix. I like War and Majesty quite a bit to close out the card. I went 6, 11, and 12 are super logical. If you're looking for maybe a little bit more of a price, the 4 Abundance I thought was interesting. Also, the 8 Gallant Lad coming off that good third place finish in the debut, chasing Gene and Jude. There's a look at Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Wish you the best of luck playing the races on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Remember, shop.drf.com. Head on over. Every time you're playing the races at Gulfstream Park, past performances, DRF picks, and Clocker Reports available for you each and every day. Best of luck on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you can, subscribe below and leave a comment. Let us know. Give me a best bet for the day. Do you agree with some of the analysis? Is there a horse or two that I missed? We'd love to hear from you. Saturday, Gulfstream Park.